Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to Be Your Own Hero. I'm a stage 4 prostate, bone, and lung cancer patient slash survivor. Been dealing with cancer since late 2020, early 2021. Uh, Truly enjoying where we are in Texas. Uh, we were just talking, my special guest and I, Shaun Francis, we're just talking about the weekend that I had. My wife and daughter were out of town, so I had the whole house to myself. So I babysat my granddaughter on Friday afternoon, enjoyed it. And then Saturday, did a little fishing at the lake. Didn't catch that much, but caught a catfish and a carp and everything like that, and just had fun just being out there on the lake with a friend of mine. So that was really good. And then on Sunday, all I did was watch football and baseball from about noon to I don't know, 10 o'clock at night or something like that. It was pretty spectacular. Really, really enjoyed it. So I hope each and every one of you has had a great weekend and are enjoying a great week. And here's your commercial. Please like, subscribe, make a comment in the comment section of the video. And we have an absolutely incredible guest today. Shaun Francis, please introduce yourself, and we're going to get into just an amazing, amazing conversation. Shaun, please introduce yourself and tell us
Thank
who
you,
you
Mark.
are.
Thank you much. Appreciate it. And a little jealous of your Sunday. It sounds like it was perfect. It was perfect. Good for you. So I am Shaun Francis. I have, I've had a crazy life, crazy good life, but a crazy life. I've had two near-death experiences. The first was 7 years ago. Almost drank myself into a grave. Actually, drank myself in a 16-day coma, heart failure, kidney failure, organs shutting down one at a time. They gave me less than a 5% chance of survival. By God's grace, survived. Changed my life, reconnected with my faith, focused on my wife and daughter in that order. 5 years ago, brain infection, 17 brain surgeries, but it wasn't 20. I say that jokingly. I know it's obnoxious. 20 is 17 is excessive. We learned early on we can complain and cry about it. It makes a heavy situation 10 times heavier, or we can laugh and joke about it and it makes it lighter and it's easier to get through. We chose the latter, thankfully. They actually wanted to put me in hospice. I'm sorry, the brain trauma is from a thing called hydrocephalus. Nothing to do with the drinking. It's a genetic disease, same one Billy Joel's dying of. They actually ran out of protocol after 16 brain surgeries and wanted to put me in hospice. My wife, and I start this story the same way all the time, and I apologize for going back. I'm going to start it again. My wife is the best human being I've ever met, and God is good, and I am blessed. So they wanted to put me in hospice. My wife said, no, he got sick before. I know his wishes firsthand. And you don't know my husband. If anyone's going to survive it, it's him. Use him as a vessel. Go change the world together. Well, they tried a new protocol on me from 1959 that they tried in the lungs, where they injected a cocktail of steroids and clotting agent to break up the infection. They tried it 3 times in the lungs in 59. All 3 patients died. They shut the trial down. So here we go. I'm patient zero to have it done in the brain. They had 9 minutes to open me up, shoot the 3 infections, and place the 2 shunts and start to close me, or I was going to hemorrhage to death. Well, it worked, thankfully, by God's grace. And we started working in recovery, a 3 year recovery, like a full time job. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, 10 to 12 hours a day. I am ecstatic that I did that and it paid off. Every minute of the pain paid off. So, anyways, with the new protocol, they've saved 4 more people and counting. So, through my wife's voice and God's grace, we've saved 5 people and counting. The story gets better. It's almost over. Don't worry. This is the last part, but by far, the best part. During that time, a former colleague of mine, Lillian Hamilton, I used to mentor her at GE. She was a young, high potential talent we were trying to fast track. Got close over 3 years ago, 20 years ago, went our separate ways. It happens. It's life. She contacts me 2 years ago and says, hey, I want to have dinner with my fiance and your wife. I'm getting ordained to marry him in November, which is neat. But she said, while you were at Emory dealing with your brain trauma, I was also at Emory and I survived stage 3 breast cancer. And she was so torn up from the radiation, she couldn't wear a bra. Her and her fiance designed shapewear that incorporates in the bra. After the fourth iteration, her doctors approved it and said, go patent it. She patented it. We went into business. We start listing on Amazon in 8 weeks. And I promise you, Mark and folks, last part, but by far, the best part of the story. Two arms of the business, for profit, non for profit. The non-for-profit, half the money is going to the Emory Winship Cancer Institute that saved my partner's life. Half's going to my neurosurgeon that saved mine. My neurosurgeon is testing in large primates. Human trials next. Cure rate north of 70% for brain cancer. She surgically implants smart microbots that seek out to destroy the cancer cells, but leave the healthy ones alone. If it works, it could be applicable for many mass tumor cancers: kidney, pancreatic, ovarian, breast, cervical. So we're trying to help her chase her work quicker. So I'm going to finish the story the same way I started, and I hope I didn't take too much time. But my wife is the best human being I've ever met. Gave me a second chance with my drinking when I didn't deserve it. And I work every day, so she doesn't regret it. Most days she doesn't. Some days she does. That's called marriage, I think. That's what I keep telling myself. And she was my voice when I couldn't be with my brain trauma. And God is good and I am blessed. So thank you for letting me share.
Absolutely. In fact, for those who may recognize the name Lillian Hamilton, I actually did a an interview with Lillian a while back, so you could take a look at that interview as well. So, Shaun, let's go back to the beginning of your journey
Sure.
of what happened. So, if you could talk about that and how it all started that led up to all of these
Sure.
situations.
Sure. So I here's how I put it, because I've thought a lot about it, Mark, right? What led to it? First of all, I have the genetic trait, right? My grandfather was an alcoholic to the point where my father never drank. Um, Skip generation, bang, we go. So, I used to drink in college, not a ton, not terribly. But when I joined GE, it became part of the job. It was a high pressure, high, stress, high social type job. And you would always drink at dinner, you always drink at happy hour, there's always cocktail hours. And then it became kind of a macho thing to do, that I can drink more and I can drink a ton and I can still handle myself. And then I started tapering back a little bit. I got a big job. I was the head of HR for a Fortune 100 company, and I got fired from that job, and I started self-medicate through alcohol. And it got to the point where it was more than just a couple of drinks at night, and then I started drinking a little bit in the morning to just get me going, and then I was drinking at work, and the slope. It's a slippery slope, and you know, unfortunately, that was one of those all-ins on good and bad. That was one of the bads that we've learned from, and we just do better from it moving forward.
So let's be clear with everyone. Okay, so you started binge drinking and everything
Hmm.
like that.
Right.
Uh, where was your mindset at that time? And then talk about how it's changed
Yep.
over time
Yep.
and
Great.
what made you become who you are today.
Great. Okay. There's a lot to unpack there, and I'm going to try and do it. So if I miss any of it, let me know. But that's great. That's right at the core. So I realized that it had become a problem. In fact, my wife realized she was kind of going down the same slope early on, and she quit drinking altogether. She's smart, right? She's got great taste in men, but she's also smart. Um, I realized there was a problem, and I was going to quit every Monday. And every Monday, without one failure, I had a reason to rationalize why next Monday would be better, and I'd enjoy the next week. And by enjoying the next week, I drink a little bit more than I did the week before because I was enjoying it. Because Monday I start, and Monday never came where I didn't have a rational thought around it until I went in a coma. I had a thought. I drank the day I went in a coma. I drank before I went to the hospital because I knew I was going to be away from my alcohol, so I was going to get my last buzz in before I left. I was getting buzzed 3 times a day, and then I'd come down off it, and I'd start to be hungover, and I'd drink myself into the second buzz, come down off it, drink myself into the third buzz. I knew it was a problem, couldn't break it. Now, let's keep unpacking though, because that's the first part, and that sucks. But what's better? What did we do with that? We learned from that. But more than that, we got active. My big thing now in life is I try and chase. I don't try and force. I try and chase, and I try and chase the path that God's showing me. And that's what I wanted to do with my recovery. And that's what I want to do every day now. I want to chase the path, and I want to chase it actively, not passively. There's times I need to rest, and there's time I need to be patient. And he tells me when I need to. But when he tells me to chase, that was some big thunder. I don't know if you all heard that, but it's close. We chase and we chase, and then we wake up and we pray and thank God for another day, and we chase. And that's the new mindset. It's a lot easier chasing that than trying to chase 40 to 60 ounces of vodka. It's a lot more productive too.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, it's a tough situation. You get caught in like a whirlpool of your own making, and
Yes.
to be
Yes.
able to, I am so impressed with who you've become and where you've come from. That's an incredible journey, and we're here, both you and I. We're here for a reason. We are here to share how we've overcome and how we can help other people.
Yes.
And I know that's important to me, and I know it's important to you.
Amen.
So talk about that, please.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Boy, I love that question, Mark. That might be my most favorite question I've gotten in all my interviews. I'm a firm believer that I want people to learn from my scar tissue. I'd rather you learn from my scar tissue than build the scar tissue because a 16-day coma and a 2-year recovery isn't fun. So learn from my scar tissue. And the more I can do that, the better, right? But um there's an intrinsic value in that though. So I try and share my story at least 5 times a day. And we've done the calculations conservatively. I've shared it over 3,500 times. We've touched a lot of people. My wife's starting to share it now. My daughter at 9 years old can share it now. I've had so recently, just recently in the last year, I've had 3 different folks that I met in parking lots of like at driving ranges and stuff. And I share this, I find a reason to share the story. They all went in and started AA meetings, and they've all been sober. So 2 of them been sober for 9 months, one's been sober for just under a year because they learned from my scar tissue. They didn't have to drink themselves into the coma. And for me, that was everything validating to share the story because so boy, there's a big storm. I don't know if you guys can hear it, Mark. It is close too. Oof. The hair standing up on my neck, folks. So I got baptized 2 years ago, again, for the second time. This time my choice. I got baptized as an infant, but my choice now. New life, my choice. And I told my pastor, sometimes I feel guilty sharing this story because I don't want to come across narcissistic. And he said to me, Shaun, you need to stop that now. I've heard you share it 5 times. You do both things you need to do. You praise your wife, she deserves praise. And you give all glory to God, and he deserves all glory. And you're going to talk to 3 groups. One group has faith, their faith's going to get a little bit deeper. One group's pissed off, it doesn't matter. They're going to be pissed off about something else in 3 minutes, anyways. And one group's leaning on the fence. You might get them to lean in and lean on. Do that. Get them to lean in and lean on. That's your obligation. That's how you pay back God. Live right. Be a good Christian. Share your story so people can learn from your scar tissue. And God bless you, Mark, for doing the same thing. God bless you for doing the same thing.
Thank you, Sean. Uh, that's my mission in life. You
Yes.
know,
Amen.
we, I am here for a reason, and it's to share the story and to help as many people as I possibly can. And what's fascinating to me is the reach that has been happening. I've been able to meet so many different people,
Yeah.
and it's been such an honor to
Yeah.
meet people from all walks of life, all over the world, with different experiences. You know, Shaun hasn't directly dealt with cancer himself, but you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's cancer or alcoholism or whatever it may be. We all, as human beings, go through things, and if we don't learn from our experiences, what is the point? And that's the most important thing is we have obstacles and things we need to overcome as people. And that is what is most important is our ability to learn from these experiences. Because if we don't learn from them, then
Yes.
we totally miss the boat. We
Yes.
totally miss the point. So, what are
Amen to
your
that.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Mark. It's in fact, going back to that common theme of the all in or not playing. So I started this and my wife's following it now. I literally took every negative part of my routine out of my daily routine. And that unfortunately included some people. And I don't regret it. In fact, the only thing I regret is not doing it sooner. Then when we built back the routine, it had to be something positive. So we've gotten crazy with it. Me, excuse me, a little more crazier than my wife, but so I day fast. I do the cold plunge challenge at 37 degrees for 5 minutes a day. You know, I'm forcing my not I don't have to force, I look forward to now. I pray every morning, every night, and then during the day just because I'm walking 30 to 40 miles a day, even when I don't want to. You know, I don't know if I shared this with you or a group that I was talking to earlier this morning about the Atlanta weather, the winter. It's gray, cold, 20s and 30s. It was crappy out one day, and I'm putting my shoes on, and my wife said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going for my walk." She goes, "Why? It's terrible out." And I said, "I know it is, but you know who's not taking a break today? Sickness and bad luck, and I'm going to stay ahead of them, right? Anything I can control that's positive, I'm going to stay ahead of. But that's also helped mentally too. Like there's a mental piece too. Can I take a minute to talk a little bit about gratitude, or you want to go somewhere else, Mark?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And one of my favorite topics.
Okay, great, great. Mine too, because it's so powerful. So obviously, between the two illnesses, but especially the brain trauma, we've got severe PTSD and anxiety, and put all those favorite alphabets together that you hate having. We've got them, right? I was on 7 psychiatric meds, a heavy sleep aid, and then two for like gout and high blood pressure. I'm off all of them, even the ones that aren't for anxiety and mental and psychiatry, physical ailments. I'm off too. Two things. Gratitude. So I started reading and listening to a lot of Jordan Peterson. And folks, if you haven't listened to him, whether you have faith or not, he's worth listening to because he's just so good at the analysis and the dissection and how to apply it based on what his experience has been, how to apply it to your life. So it's really worth taking a look at him. But he was talking about the power of gratitude and that physiologically, neurologically, your mind can only have one true emotion that you're feeling at the time. You can't be happy and sad at the same time. You can flip back and forth, and some of us flip back and forth a lot more than others. But if you have gratitude as the major thing you're feeling in your brain that's dominating, it's a firewall. It is a physiological firewall for for all the anxieties and panics and depressions. It can't be top of mind for you. You can't feel it because you're feeling gratitude. And sometimes it takes a minute, sometimes 3 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes. To be honest, I've started doing it 5 minutes just because it winds up leading me into some prayers and meditating with God. So for me, it's a win-win. But I'm off all of them, including the sleep aid, including the one for gout, which makes no sense because that's got nothing to do with gratitude, or maybe it does, right? But that's been so powerful. And, I had my wife start doing it. And even my 9-year old, when she's able to try it, she says it works. So that right there, and I don't know why the medical community doesn't share. Well, I do know it's big pharma, right? It's the revenue, it's the chasing the dollar. But gratitude is unbelievably powerful. And I'm talking third hand, second hand, and more importantly, strongly first hand. It works.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I really came to embrace gratitude
Mm.
uh, during my cancer journey, especially when I started getting better.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you realize how precious life is
Yep.
and how beautiful life is. And,
Yep.
and,
In those
you
little
know,
moments.
yes, and the little moments are actually the big moments.
Yep.
You
Absolutely.
think things that you took for granted before. I
Yep.
mean, at least in my case, things that I took for granted before that were just around me, and I didn't appreciate them. I just took them for granted,
Yep.
and now I try to appreciate, the simple thing. I went out fishing last Saturday, and my mindset prior to that, I've been fishing all my life. And I was always focused on catching the most fish. My mindset now when I go fishing is to just enjoy the day, enjoy the company. If I catch fish, great. And so shifting the mindset into whatever you're doing, it is just can be life changing. It really
Absolutely.
can. And
Absolutely.
yeah, talk about that from your experience.
Yeah. So first, I want to get off the table. I don't condone eating carp and catfish because I don't like them. I don't know how you do it, but good
No,
on
I
you.
didn't. I didn't either. We released them.
Okay. Um, in terms of help me understand that question a little more in terms of what the benefit of changing the mindset.
Yeah, I mean, how you shifted your mindset from what your
Yep.
thoughts were
Yep.
before to what it is now, because
Yep.
what it was before is obviously
Yes.
drastically different than what
Yes.
it is now. How did you get there?
So I am my family is not happy unless we're worrying, and we want to be the biggest worriers of the family. So we worry like on top of worry, plus we're Irish Catholic, which makes it, guilt on top of guilt. So it's brutal. Um, Everything was negative, and I looked at everything being negative. The best thing that I did, the number one tool I used, and this is gonna sound stupid, but I promise you, my wife will vouch for it too if she was here, is the more you actually focus on the gratitude, the more it works and the more everything else works. And it becomes a positive momentum shift in the right direction that affects everything in your life, not just I'm having anxiety right now. So I put that as the starter. Now let's keep pulling that thread a little bit, Mark. My wife and my wife's writing I provided all the content. My wife's writing the journey of the two illnesses. And then what we've learned from it. And one of the first things we learned goes back to one of the things that my father, who was a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps, did I already share that? So I was going to work as hard as I could, and if I didn't make it, or if it didn't come out to where I wanted it to, and I was able to look myself in the mirror, I'd still say I did everything I could and nothing less. Right? And that mindset goes into everything now, though, Mark. That goes into when Helena and I are playing on the VR. I'm a little more competitive than I should be. I'm not gonna lie, but or we're just sitting there, making up lyrics to songs we're listening to. I am. It's about being in the moment now. And I catch myself telling that's what I think one of the biggest mind shift changes I've had, and I believe based on our discussions, Mark, that's one of the biggest lifestyle and thought process changes you've had is live in the now.
That's what we have.
Yep.
That's what we have. And that's why it's called the present, because it is a gift. You
Yep.
know, when we are blessed to open our eyes to a new day, make the most of it because
Absolutely.
time is our most precious commodities. And there's no doubt about it because if you ask any billionaire on his deathbed, what would you rather have, time or money? There's no
Yep.
question what they would say.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
they want time.
Yep.
Everybody wants time. And how each and every person has 24 hours in a day. And it's fascinating to me how people use their time. You know, you talk to some people and some people, oh, I'm so busy. Well, what have you done? You know,
Right.
what are you accomplishing? What are you doing to help make the world a better place? And you know, so the word busy is different for different people, but make
Yep.
the most out of your time on this earth because we only go
Yes.
around once.
Yes.
And
Yes.
who
But
wants to live a life of regret?
no, and Mark, here's on that vein, what I tell myself, when people would say, hey, I'd ask workers, hey, how's it going? We're busy, working hard. Okay. But are you productive? Because you're busy and working hard doesn't mean you're getting anything done. It's the
That's
same thing
right.
in our personal lives. Are we being
That's right.
productive? Just because we're busy doesn't mean we're getting anything done. When I look at, am I being using my time right? I think every day at the end when I'm saying my prayers at night, when I go into my prayers, I talk about what did I enjoy today? What am I taking away as a memory? And if I don't have a memory, man, I'm going to try and figure out one tomorrow. You know, I truly believe that that's all part of the rewiring of the brain
Hmm.
that we all go through, whether it's cancer, any type of trauma in life, medical trauma or other trauma. You have to do a rewiring process, right? Like we talked about, and that's what all this is. I believe.
So let me ask you a question. So you went through 17 brain surgeries. Every time you had another brain surgery come up, what's going through your mind? It's like, again?
Yeah, so
Do I have to do this? What was
it's it's
happening here?
interesting. It was crazy. Remember what I said about my wife being the best human being in the world. So I say this in because it's funny. We learned early on you can complain and cry about it, and it makes a heavy situation a lot heavier, or you can laugh and joke about it. We chose to do the former, I mean, the latter. And she would call up, and because in between the brain surgery, sometimes I was lucid, sometimes I wasn't. But what would happen is what I was struggling with the most was my short-term memory. My long-term memory was really good. My short-term memory wouldn't remember 30 seconds ago. So she'd call me 4 or 5 times a day. And the fifth time, I'd be chewing around saying, I haven't talked to you in 2 days. What's going on? It's like Tasmanian devil. And baby, I talked to you 5 times today. So she nicknamed it 51st Dates. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Oh yeah,
But
I have.
so she'd call up and she goes, well, how's 51st Dates today? And we thought it was hilarious. And everyone's like, that's terrible. No, it's not. It's how you get through it. She's got to rewire her brain too. And it made it
Wow.
fun. It made it fun. And I got like six of those stories. I won't bore you with them, but like it was awesome.
Wow. She is a special person, no
She's
question about it.
she's the
Mm,
best. I don't say that
yeah,
tongue in cheek.
that is awesome. That is awesome. So, Sean, what is the one thing that you would like to leave our audience with? Oh, and by the way, would you like to come back and shoot a part two? Actually, three
Absolutely.
questions. Okay. So that's a given.
Absolutely. And
And
hey, anything I can do to advance your cause, because you're having people learn from scar tissue, I am all in. I am all in.
awesome, awesome. And likewise. So, question number two is what would you like to leave our audience with as a main point? What do you want the message that you want to share as the most important thing?
So when I look back at the last 7 years, and I would argue actually the last 53 years, yes, I'm old.
You're
50,
making me feel even older, so go ahead.
actually, I forgot I turned 54 yesterday, 54. Um,
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. So, it's when I've done best in life is when I've leaned in and leaned on. When I've leaned into my faith and leaned on my family is when I've lived the most fulfilled, at peace, most joy. Anxiety ebbs and flows, but able to get through it than when I've leaned in and leaned on. And for me, that's going to be the foundation that I always go back on.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And then the other thing would be just any press we can give for the book and business if you guys are up to that.
Excuse me, say that again?
Any press that we can give for the business and the book.
Oh, okay.
If I could just explain that real quick or
Sure,
not.
go ahead.
Okay, great. So, and I pray folks don't have people in their network that they need this for, but if you have a warrior fighting breast cancer, battling breast cancer, we will ship them shapewear. We'll ship them two units so you can wear one, wash one, so you can always have them. We've shipped them out to 31 people. 29 have come back to buy additional just so they have more than I having to do as much laundry and different colors and shapes. And it's really it's bamboo and it's moisture wicking and it's like a my pillow, real light and flexible, so you can adjust it for what you're wearing more or less, or put it where you want it based on what you're wearing. We've had two women that decided not to get reconstructive surgery because our shipper is giving them everything they need. So I would just say, please take a look. It's called natura3.com, NAUTRA3.com. And all you have to do, you'll see our contact, send us the contact, tell us the story, we'll ship them out. And then my wife is writing our journey. It's called Room 11, a story of love, faith, forgiveness, and second chances. And we're going to be doing deep dives, although me and my friend Mark, we're going to do some more. So you get some more in the future, I hope. So thank you very much, guys. And you're all warriors for a reason. The devil doesn't
That's
attack the weak.
awesome. Final question for you, Sean.
Yes.
If you had a superpower, whatever you need at your hands, how would you make the world a better place?
That's actually a simple question, believe it or not. For
Okay,
me, it's to advance God's kingdom, which means being able to have people to understand and learn what you and I have learned, not just for the bad times, but for the good times too, and the hard times and the bad times, for all the times. I wish people would find that faith and that level of comfort that you and I have been blessed with. And if I could advance the kingdom doing that, that would be my superpower.
beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Sean, thank you so much for your time. We're going to bring you back next week.
Perfect.
Same time, same place, pretty much. Uh, and I want to thank each and every one of you out there for sharing this journey with us. Please like, subscribe, make a comment in the comment section of the video. And as we talked about earlier, life is precious, absolutely precious. And I hope that each and every one of you can appreciate that. Time is our most precious commodity. Make the most out of each and every single day, each and every hour, each and every minute, and each and every second. Do it for yourself. And so you can live a life with no regrets. And we will see you next week on To Be Your Own Hero. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic week, everyone. Bye bye.